Hello children, welcome to today's maths class of class 6. We are doing the 5th lesson of your NCERT textbook, Understanding Elementary Shapes. Today we will be doing the concluding part, that is part 7 of this lesson, Understanding Elementary Shapes. Before moving into today's topic, let me just revise with you the different topics that we have covered in this lesson. Children, we started with the basics of geometry, learning about point, line segment. We learned how to measure and compare the line segment using a ruler and divider. Then we learned about angles. We learned the two basic angles, that is the right angle and straight angle. We learned these two angles using two examples, that is through directions and the hands of a clock. Then we learnt about the different other types of angles and named them according to their measure. We compared them with the right angle and straight angle. Children, then we also learnt how to measure angles using a protractor. After learning about lines and angles, we learnt about polygons. Remember what a polygon is? A polygon is a closed shape which is made of only line segments. We learnt about the polygon which can be made with minimum number of line segments, that is 3 line segments. Remember its name? Yes, it is the triangle. Then we classified the triangles based on the number of sides and also based on the angles. Then children, we learnt about the 4-sided polygon, that is a quadrilateral. We learnt about the different types of quadrilateral and learned the different properties of the quadrilateral based on the sides, angles and the diagonals they form. Children, we also learnt about naming of the different polygons based on the number of sides. So children, these were the different topics that we have covered till now. Today again we are going to learn about some shapes, but these shapes will be different from the shapes that we have learnt. Let us see how they are different. Till now we have learnt about the shapes which have only 2 dimensions, that is the length and the breadth. These shapes are flat plane figures and they do not have a volume, that is they do not have thickness, so you cannot hold these shapes. And what are the example of the 2D shapes that we have learnt? We have learnt about square, rectangle, circle, quadrilaterals, pentagon, octagon. Students, today we are going to learn about the 3-dimensional shapes or the 3D shapes. Why are they called 3-dimensional shapes? Because they have 3 dimensions, that is length, breadth and thickness. Now let me show you one of the object which you have and you tell me what shape it is. Children, what is this? This is your geometry box. You have been using this instrument box for making figures. Can you tell me what shape is this? Yes, you may say that it is a rectangle. But children, this is not a rectangle. Just see the face which is towards you, it has a shape of a rectangle. But you can turn around this shape and you can see that it has some thickness. So this is an example of a 3D shape, that is a cuboid. Now let me show you one more example. You must have played with this. What is this? This is a Rubik cube. After seeing this, you may wonder whether it is a square. No, it is not a square. You can see the 3 dimensions, that is the length, breadth and the height. This is called a solid shape, that is the cube. So children, don't confuse yourself with a square and a cube. Another shape, what is this? This is a ball. But many of you, if I ask you the shape, you may, after seeing the curved surface, you may say that it is a circle. But it is not a circle because it has some thickness, it has volume. And this is another 3D shape that you are going to learn, that is a sphere. So now let us define the 3D shapes. 3D or 3-dimensional shapes are solid shapes that have 3 dimensions, length, width and depth. These shapes that occupy space have volume. Some of the examples of 3-dimensional shapes are cuboid, cube, cylinder, sphere, pyramid, cone. Before learning about the different types of three-dimensional shapes, let me first introduce you to the basic parts of the 3D shapes. As I told you, this is a shape of a cuboid. This is a cuboid. Now, the first part of the 3D shape that you have to understand is the face. What do you mean by face of a three-dimensional shape? A face of a three-dimensional shape refers to the flat surface. The flat surface which makes the shape. So if you see a cuboid, you can see that this flat surface has the shape of a rectangle. So what do you mean by face of a three-dimensional shape? It refers to the flat surface which makes the shape. The next part that you are going to learn about a three-dimensional shape is the edge. Now here where the two faces meet, you have a line segment being formed. You take any of the two faces, you have a line segment being formed. This is called the edge of the three-dimensional shape. This is called the edge of the three-dimensional shape. So how do we define an edge? Where two faces meet and edge is formed. The next you are going to learn about is vertex. Now what do you mean by vertex? In this shape you can see the different corners. Or where the three edges meet. Where the three edges meet, you have one corner or vertex being formed. So how do we define a vertex? Vertex is a point where the three edges meet. So these are the three parts you have to be clear about a three-dimensional shape. And according to the face, the edge and the vertex, you can name the shape and also know about the different numbers of face, edge and vertex each shape has. Students, now let us summarize what we have learned about face, edge and vertex of a 3D shape. Face refers to the flat surface of a 3D shape. Edge and edges where two faces meet. Vertex, a vertex is a corner where three edges meet. So children, now let us learn about the different 3D shapes that are discussed in your textbook. The first shape that is discussed in your textbook is a cube. Now this is the shape of a cube. Now what do you observe this with respect to face, edge and vertices that you have learned? You will find that all the faces of this cube are square shape. Now let us count the number of faces a cube has. Now if you hold the cube in this way, you can say there is one face at the top and one at the bottom. So 1, 2 and there are 4 faces around. So 3, 4, 5 and 6. So how many faces a cube has? A cube has 6 faces. What about the vertices? You can see the corners. We learned that the corners are called the vertices. So how many corners? 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top and 4 at the bottom. So total how many vertices are there? There are 8 vertices in a cube. What about the edges? Edges are the line segments where two faces meet. So how many edges are there? At the top you will have 4 edges. And at the bottom you will have another 4, so 8 and at the corners again you will have 4. So there are 12 edges in a cube. Now let me show you some examples of the cubical shaped objects that you find around. You will find that the die which we use to play Ludo, it is in the shape of a cube. The Rubik cube is another example of a cubical shaped object. And other examples can be the ice cubes or the toys which come in the shape of a cube. The second three-dimensional object that you are going to learn today is a cuboid. Now this is the shape of a cuboid. Now what do you observe here? You will find the surface, all the surface in the shape of a rectangle. So such a three-dimensional shape which has rectangular surfaces is called a cuboid. Let us count the number of faces of a cuboid. In a cuboid, you will find that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 faces. What about the vertices? There are 8 vertices, 4 at the top and 4 below. And the number of edges you will find there are 4 edges at the top and 4 edges below and 4 edges at the side. So how many edges in a cuboid? There are 12 edges in a cuboid. Let us see some example of cuboidal shaped objects that we find around you. Some of the examples are the notebook or the registers in which you write, or the lunch box or the shoe box. These are all examples of cuboidal object. Even the bricks which are used for construction, they are of the shape of a cuboid. The third three-dimensional object that is discussed in your textbook, it is about a cone. Now, this is the shape of a cone. You must have seen such objects around you. Yes. Now, let us first study about the shape of a cone. This cone has 2 faces. What are the 2 faces? This is the curved face and another face which is called the base of the cone. This is circular in shape. So, how many faces a cone will have? A cone has 2 faces and vertex. You can see that there is only one corner, so a cone will have one vertex. And what about the edge? It has a curved edge. So in a cone you will have 2 faces, one vertex and one edge. Example of conical shaped objects can be the birthday caps, or it can be the traffic cones, and one very common example is the ice cream cones. The next three-dimensional object that you are going to learn today is a cylinder. This is the shape of a cylinder. Now let us first study about the shape. Let us first see how its faces are. You can see that here you have a curved face that forms the cylinder. Other than that, there are 2 circular base of a cylinder. So how many faces of a cylinder? There are 3 faces of a cylinder. One curved face and 2 circular faces at the top and bottom. What about the vertex? Does a cylinder have a vertex? Can you observe any corner here? No, a cylinder does not have a vertex. Now what about the edges? You can see here you have one edge, circular edge, and here another circular curve. So you can say in a cylinder there are 2 edges. Let us see some example of cylindrical objects that you find around. These can be the cans in which you get the soft drinks or other canned object. All these come in cylindrical shaped cans. Other than that, the log of wood or the musical instrument drum, that is also the shape of a cylinder. Even the candle has the shape of a cylinder. Now the next three-dimensional object that you are going to study is a sphere. I showed you one example of a spherical shaped object. Remember, it is a ball. This is how a sphere looks. Now what do you observe about the face of a sphere? It is a curved face. So how many faces? It has only one curved face. What about the edge? Can you observe any edge here? No, there is no edge for a sphere. What about vertex? Are there any corners in a sphere? No, there are no corners in a sphere. So you can say that a sphere has only one face. Some examples of spherical shaped objects around you can be the different types of balls you play with. Let it be the cricket ball, the volleyball or the football, or it can be the globe which you use in your geography classes, or some fruits like oranges. All these shapes are spherical. The next three-dimensional object that you are going to study about is a prism. Now let me show you the shape of a prism. Now in a prism you will find that there are 2 bases which will be identical to each other, and they will be also parallel to each other, and according to the bases the prism will be named. For example, this is a triangular prism because it has the base in the shape of a triangle, and all the other faces it will be rectangular in shape. Again observe this triangular prism. A prism has two identical bases which are parallel to each other and they are named according to the bases. For example, here the shape is a triangle, so this is called a triangular prism, and all the other faces will be rectangular. Let me show you one more prism. This is a square prism. Why is it called a square prism? You can see the base here. You can see the base here. The base is in the form of a square. And these two bases are identical. They are parallel to each other. And all the other faces will be rectangular in shape. Here also you can count the number of faces, number of edges, and the number of vertex. Let us take the triangular prism and count the number of faces. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So how many faces in a triangular prism you have? You have 5 faces. What about the edges? Here you will have 3 edges forming the sides of the triangle, another 3 edges forming the sides of the base of the triangle. So 6, 7, 8 and 9. So in a triangular prism you will have 9 edges. What about the vertex? You will have 3 vertex here and another 3 vertex at the bottom. There will be 6 vertices in the case of a triangular prism. Let us see some examples of prism shaped objects around us. You can see that the rooftops of your houses, they are actually in the shape of a prism. Also the slice which you have for pizza or cheese, they are also cut in the shape of a prism. Other than that, you will have tents being in the shape of a prism. The next shape that you are going to learn today is pyramid. Now what is a pyramid? In a pyramid you will have, there is only one base. For example, this is a square pyramid because the shape of the base is square and all the other faces will be triangular in shape, and this is called a square pyramid. Now let us count the number of faces for the square pyramid. The base forms one face, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So how many faces does a square pyramid have? It has 5 faces. What about the vertex? You will find 4 vertices at the bottom and 1 at the top. So there are 5 vertices. And what about the edges? You will find that there are 4 edges at the bottom and 5, 6, 7 and 8. 8 edges. Children, there can be other types of pyramids based on the bases they have. For example, this is the example of a triangular pyramid. Why is it called a triangular pyramid? Because the base is a triangle and the other faces in a pyramid will be triangle. So the 4 faces, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 faces of a triangular pyramid, they are triangle in shape, and a triangular pyramid is also called a tetrahedron. Now here you will find how many number of vertices here? 1, 2, 3 and 4 vertices. What about the number of edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 edges. Now let us see some examples of pyramids that you find around you. These can be the pyramid shaped tents, or one of the famous examples of pyramids is the pyramid that you observe in Egypt. And even some towers and buildings are also in the shape of a pyramid. These are the different three-dimensional shapes that are discussed in your textbook. Now let me again differentiate between a prism and pyramid, or how they are different. In a prism you will have 2 bases and all the other faces will be rectangular in shape. But in a pyramid you will have only one base and all the other faces will be triangular in shape. Hope you are clear with prism and pyramid. Students, now that you have learnt about the different types of three-dimensional object, you have learnt about face, edge and vertices. Let us solve exercise 5.9. The first question is match the following and you have to give 2 examples of each shape. You can see on the left side the names of the 3D shapes are given and some shapes are made on the right side. Let us start. The first one, cone. So can you identify cone from the right hand side? Yes, it is the second option. So this is the shape of a cone. And what will be 2 other examples of cone that you can think of? It can be the plane top and it can be the traffic cones. Now the second option that is given here is sphere. Now which option matches for sphere? You can see that this is the spherical shape. So option number B, the answer will be 4. Now can you give 2 other examples for sphere or spherical shaped objects? It can be the spherical balloons or it can be the globe. Now let us see the third option, that is cylinder. Now identify cylinder from here. You can see that it matches to option number 5 because this is the shape of a cylinder. Now what are the examples of cylinder that you can give? It can be the batteries which we use in our torches or it can be the cylindrical shaped water tanks. What about option number D? Where do you find cuboid? It is option number 3. This is the shape of a cuboid. Now what are the other examples of cuboid which you can give? The 2 examples can be shoebox or it can be the brick. These are cuboid shaped objects. Now what about option number E? E here refers to pyramid. Now which is here pyramid? You can see option number 1 is pyramid. And as I told you, pyramids are named according to the base. You can see that here the base is a triangular. So it is the example of a triangular pyramid. What are the other examples that you can give for triangular pyramid? It can be a cubic triangle or it can be the tents which are in the shape of a triangular pyramid. The second question of exercise 5.9 is you have to identify the shapes. You find a number of 3D shaped objects around you and some shapes are mentioned here and you have to identify and name the shape. The first one is your instrument box. I also showed you an instrument box. What example did I give it of? It is a cuboid. So the first answer, instrument box. What is the shape? It is a cuboid. The second option is you have to say what is the shape of a brick. Where are bricks used? Bricks are used for construction of houses. So if you have seen a brick, now you will identify it with the shape of a, yes, it is a cuboid. Third option asked is you have to identify the shape of a matchbox. All of you have seen a matchbox. What shape is it? It is a cuboid. Option number D is you have to identify the shape of a road roller. You must have seen the road rollers during the construction or the making of the roads. You must have seen the front part of the road roller which is in the shape of a cylinder which rolls over the road and levels the road. So what shape is it? It is a cylinder. And the last option is you have to say the shape of a sweet laddu. All of you must have eaten the laddu. Now you know the shape of a laddu. It is a sphere. So here we have completed with exercise 5.9. So students, now we have completed with the lesson understanding elementary shapes, in which we learned about the different shapes and we learned the different parts of the shapes. We learned how to draw, measure and compare the shapes. Now I'll give you some practice questions of this lesson which will be helpful for you from the exam point of view. The first question is, the angle measure for one complete revolution is. The option given are 180 degree, 360 degree, 90 degree, none of these. If you remember, for one complete revolution, the angle measured is 360 degree. So option B will be correct. Question number 2. Through what angle measure does the hour hand of a clock turn through when it moves from 3 to 9? So when it moves from 3 to 9, you remember the hands of the clock reaches the opposite direction, or it covers an angle of 180 degree. So the correct answer will be option number C, 180 degree. Question number 3. The measure of an acute angle is, the different options given are less than 90 degree, greater than 90 degree, equal to 90 degree, none of these. You know that an acute angle, the measure is less than 90 degree. So the correct option will be option number A, less than 90 degree. Question number 4 is, a triangle having two equal sides is called, the options given are scalene triangle, an isosceles triangle, and equilateral triangle. So what will be the correct answer? The answer will be an isosceles triangle, because in an isosceles triangle you have two sides to be equal. Question number 5. You have been shown a shape and asked, this is the shape of a, seeing the figure you have to identify whether it is a cone, cylinder, sphere or a pyramid. So this is the pyramid. So option number D is correct. Question number 6. The number of edges of the shape is, and you have been given the shape, identify the shape first. It is the shape of a cuboid. So how many edges does a cuboid have? It has 12 edges. So the answer for question number 6 will be 12. Question number 7. The number of corners of the vertices of a cylinder. The options given are 0, 1, 2 and none of these. Remember, in a cylinder there are no corners or vertices. The correct answer will be A, that is 0. Question number 8. Which of the following angles is a measure of a reflex angle? The measures given are 90 degree, 180 degree, 120 degree and 270 degree. So in a reflex angle you have measure greater than 180 degree but less than 360 degree. So what will be the correct option? It will be option number D, that is 270 degree refers to a reflex angle. Question number 9. The number of corners of this shape. You have to first identify what is this shape. This is a square shaped pyramid. And what will be the number of corners here? The options are 8, 6, 5 and 3. In a square shaped pyramid, there are 5 corners. Question number 10, you have to complete the given statements. Measure of a straight angle is, answer is 180 degree. The triangle in which dash sides are equal is called an isosceles triangle. So the correct answer for the blank space will be 2. A triangle in which two sides are equal is called an isosceles triangle. Each of the angles of a rectangle measures, the correct answer will be 90 degree. A cube has dash vertices. What will be the correct answer? The answer will be 8. A cube has 8 vertices. Next question, a polygon is dash if its all sides and angles are equal. The correct answer for the blank will be regular, because a polygon is regular if all its sides and angles are equal. Option number F, a dash is used to measure the angles. The answer will be a protractor is used to measure angles. So children, we have completed with the lesson and hope you have understood the different concepts that were introduced in this lesson, and also you will practice the different questions we have done in the different exercises and the practice questions. So till we meet again, goodbye.